welcome to Working and Wondering.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Chris.
And I'm Martha, and we're also Venturesome Couple.
This is the next episode in our Alaska series. We're going to talk about personal protection in Alaska. Got to give a disclaimer. Yes, we're going to talk about firearms and a lot of other things that you probably haven't thought about.
And it is not sponsored.
No. But if Glock wants to holler at your Venturesome Couple,
hey.
Yeah, right? So, personal protection, what type of critters are we talking about?
Two-legged and four-legged, but mostly the two-legged or four-legged.
So what's the difference between a two-legged critter and a four-legged critter?
Okay, two-legged critter, Chris and I joke about, that's a person. So someone who'd want to do harm to you or your family, loved ones.
AKA two legs.
Yeah, two legs. Four-legged would be like a bear, moose, caribou, especially the mama ones. Because they're very defensive over their baby cubs.
Yeah, and I can't blame them.
No,
right?
I can't either.
You're a mama bear. You protecting your baby.
Yeah, if you don't know, Chris and I, we actually have a daughter, and she's 23 years old.
We OAF.
I mean, we've been together since the late 1900s, so what can I say?
Yeah, that's true.
1999.
Y'all know what OAF is? Leave it in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, and if it's on the podcast, throw it on the comment on the platform what OAF stands for.
Absolutely.
So what's the first thing we want to talk about? Let's start with the easy stuff. Let's talk about bear bells.
Yeah, so if you're out there on a nature hike, fishing, whatever it may be, enjoying this beautiful scenery of Alaska, the little bear bells might scare away a bear.
Now, understand, it's not actually about like a bell scaring a bear. It's more of, hey, bear, I'm here. Let's not sneak up on you. Then your fight or flight happens, and then you get your ass whooped by a grizzly.
Most of the time, the bears don't want to be around you, but negligence on folks not picking up after themselves, having their food out. Not
smelling like a snack.
I know. The bears are like,
you kind of smell good. I think I can eat you.
I might want a picnic basket.
Right. Yogi ain't no joke. You come out there smelling like Victoria's Secret vanilla, the bear be like, that's my flavor.
Hey, boo-boo.
So the bells, in all seriousness, are really important. We didn't wear them much because most of the time when we were out, we don't want to sound like jingle bells. But they have them for ankles. They have them for wrists. They are a good thing because you're just trying not to sneak up on bears. You're trying not to sneak up on moose. The sneaking up on them, whether intentional or not, is usually what creates the reaction where they become aggressive.
And we didn't wear the bells because let's be real. I probably would not have behaved. I would have been out there singing and dancing, but
that's the thing.
It could be a thing. Pretty extra.
Well, and we were loud anyways. We're not exactly sneaking around unless we were hunting. So if you're interested, bear bells do work. They do let the animals know. It is something that's recommended. Now, let's talk about Cajun seasoning. Bear spray.
Bear spray.
What about it? Talk about it.
Like you said, it's Cajun seasoning for the bears. So it's basically a big tube pepper spray, but intended for bears.
Yeah, it's a much bigger, higher volume, almost like a small fire extinguisher. And we did carry that regularly, along with other things that we're going to talk about in here. The bear spray, usually you can pick it up at Walmart, Fred Meyer's, Costco.
They sell it everywhere in Alaska. Same with the bells. All these things that we're going to talk about, they sell everywhere in Alaska.
You don't need to bring anything.
No.
Just get it when you're there. So bear spray does work. We did spray a black bear down on the Kenai River. That bear, I don't know if it was a male or female, was being a brat and would not leave and kept coming in trying to steal everybody's fish. Now,
it was hungry.
I'm not mad at the bear, but we tried several different things to just get the bear to go away. We're in their property. It is their land. They do have the right of way. But this one was aggressive, and the hair on the back of their neck, we'll call it, was standing up. She was bluffing, or he was bluffing at us, meaning like they would take a few steps, huff, puff, and stomp. Those are precursors to, hey, I'm going to attack. So we have two choices in this circumstances. You either pepper spray them or bear spray, or you shoot them. And our goal was always to avoid shooting them.
Yep. Or throw your fish at them and slowly back away.
Yeah, because honestly, if they're going to steal your fish, let them have it.
Yeah.
The bear wins. There's no point in killing an animal because you want to save a fish.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying let's catch fish and throw it to the bears just to see if they'll eat it.
No.
That's dumb.
Yeah, that's bad. That trains them to do behaviors that we don't want that ultimately gets them killed. But the bear spray is very much like pepper spray for a human. There's some things you have to know. You need to be upwind. You need to know wind direction when you spray this because it is an aerosol. And so the point is to get the aerosol or the spray into the snout, eyes, and throat of the bear because it reacts the same to them as us getting pepper sprayed, which, speaking from experience, sucks.
Yeah. If you don't know, Chris was in law enforcement prior to HR.
And every time I got pepper sprayed was by another damn cop. Isn't that wrong?
It's wrong. So be mindful if you have to unleash the bear spray on a bear. Be mindful of the wind, who's around you, because honestly, bear spray could kill humans. I mean, especially if they have allergies or
respiratory problems. Yeah, I mean,
asthma.
Yeah, in the world of law enforcement, they call them less lethal because it is still something that could kill them, but generally speaking, it shouldn't. But don't stress about that from a bear spray perspective. Just make sure that when you spray the bear, that there's nobody downwind because Johnny, Jimmy, and Susie are going to be madder than a hornet if you bear spray them.
Yeah, and let's be real. There's going to be a lot of Alaskans out there, a lot of other folks who are going to be well armed in any of these things that we're going to mention.
Yeah.
And everyone wants everyone to stay safe. That's end of day.
End of day. Get home safe. That's it. So back to, like, does it work? Yes. You will read articles where they say it doesn't work. You'll read articles where they say it's the best thing since sliced bread. Here's our experience. We did it once. The bear ran like a scalded dog. It worked fine. And she didn't come back or he didn't come back. So recommend bear spray? 100% yes, even if you decide to carry a firearm, because it gives you, we'll call it escalation of force, kind of like law enforcement. Start with things like being loud, having an air horn. We talked about that in the last episode a little bit.
Yeah, so air horn's definitely something great to carry as well, too.
You can get those at the stores. Those are for like going to the like sporting events. You just, those loud ass things that come in little compressed gas canisters.
Yeah.
They scare the shit out of bears. They are well worth doing.
And it also alarms other folks out there on the river or, nature path that, hey, there's something's up because that's not a normal sound you're going to hear out in the wild.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looked like it was kind of like the bear tactical belt when we would go fishing mainly, because somebody would have an air horn, somebody would have bear spray, somebody would have a firearm, because there's different levels of things. We always tried to start with the air horn because if that scared him off, cool, I don't have to spray him. If the spray needed to be done, cool, I'll spray him. If that didn't work, well, God forbid, I'm going to have to shoot him. Fortunately, we never ran into that situation.
Yes.
So, yes, bear spray, yes, air horn.
And bells.
And jingle bells. Jingle bells. I'm sorry, I'm screwing it up.
It is July.
All right, let's talk about taser. You used to carry one of those for a long time.
I did. So I had the kind that project out like 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it on like your belt, and it was just comfort. But it was also a stun gun if someone came up close. But that's like someone's trying to attack you. It's personal protection.
It's not bear protection. Mm-hmm. Do not tase a bear. Although I gotta admit, I'd love to see a video on that. I'm probably wrong for that, but
I'm sure there's a video out there somewhere like that.
Somebody getting a taser shoved up their butt by a bear.
Oh. Ouch.
Yeah, bad day. So tasers do work. They are completely legal in Alaska. If you don't want to carry a firearm and you are concerned about two-legged critters, they are extremely effective. You're going to notice a pattern here. I've been tased several times.
I've never been tased.
That's a good thing because it hurts like hell.
So I've been pepper sprayed, but that was when I was a junior police explorer when I was younger.
Oh, I thought it was because you was running from the popo.
No.
You wasn't running from the police?
No.
All right. So tasers are cool. They work. They're good. Just know, as far as the taser goes, if you're going to bring that through Canada, that's a no-go.
Yes, that's a no-go.
No-go whatsoever. You cannot. Those are illegal in Canada, so don't bring tasers through. Don't bring pepper spray, personal pepper spray, meaning like for the
regular pepper spray, the kind that they sell like in sporting goods stores, and it's like, running. You're going jogging, buy this cute little pepper spray. Don't bring that through Canada. Like I said, you can buy the pepper spray, you can buy the tasers, you can buy any of these things in Alaska, and you can just ship them back or gift them.
Yep, but don't do it there. Yeah. So don't do it in Canada, what I'm saying. But bear spray is legal. I don't know. It's the hypocrisy of the government. Welcome to the world. So let's talk knives, because that is something that got us in trouble in the first episode when we talked about crossing the border, because your mom had, we'll call them switchblades, but what they are is assisted opening or automatic opening, meaning you push a button, the knife reacts and opens itself up. A lot of people call them switchblades. Those, again, are legal in Alaska.
If you missed that first episode, actually, Chris got stopped at the Canadian border, got shook down, detained for 10 hours, and had to pay a $4,400 fine.
Stupid tax.
I was towing in a separate vehicle with my mama.
Smuggling.
We were moving back from California to Alaska, and we had all our household goods with us, and we didn't go through my mom's stuff. So
that bit us in the butt.
Go check out that episode.
Right.
Go into detail.
So now let's go back to knives. So when you're in Alaska, auto opening switchblades, assisted opening knives are completely legal. Swords, daggers, throwing stars, freaking cannons, whatever the hell you want is basically legal in Alaska.
It is the last frontier.
It is. It's all good, whatever you want to carry up there. But from a knives perspective, the reason I bring this up is if you go to Alaska and you're like, oh my God, this auto opening knife is really cool, and you buy it and then you drive back through Canada, it's probably illegal. If you get back to the lower 48, California, it's illegal. So there's things that you can buy in Alaska that are legal that will not be legal when you get home, potentially. So if you decide to get a knife when you're up there, just making sure it's okay. If it's like a 3-inch long folding Kershaw pocket knife, no problem. You can buy them at literally every store in Alaska.
I have a pink one.
Yes, she does. Now, daggers. So those are going to be your fixed blade, long knives made for sticking. Those are great to carry. They're great for skinning animals. They're great for dispatching an animal that could be wounded. Like, they have a purpose. Just know that, again, could be illegal. But carrying a pocket knife with you in Alaska when you're fishing and hunting is extreme, or camping, hiking, RVing is extremely important. I would recommend it for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Because like, say you're out fishing and then the line gets tangled, you can cut it off. I mean, there's so many purposes for a knife, honestly.
Dispatching the fish so that they're humanely killed versus torturing them.
Yes.
Yeah, so just know if you buy it there, it's probably cool for Alaska, not going to be so cool for Alaska's or leaving Alaska. Now, let's talk about shipping firearms. We've done this a couple times.
Yeah, so any pistol, ship it.
Yeah, don't even think about bringing parts, magazines, ammunition, anything that resembles a pistol. And Mossberg 500 shotgun pistol grip. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. Don't bring it through Canada whatsoever. Ship it. Most places, I would say wherever your home base is, pack up whatever you want to ship, send it to Alaska. Tok, T-O-K, is a great place to send it to. Just find an FFL dealer. They're used to it. You send it from your dealer to that dealer. As soon as you get to Alaska, you pick up your firearms. You can carry whatever you want in Alaska. It is a constitutional carry state, which means that you do not need a special permit, even if you come from somewhere such as Illinois, California, New York, where it's extremely restrictive. Doesn't matter. You can be a Californian carrying a gun in Alaska while you're up there. It's legal.
As long as you're able to carry a gun, meaning like laws. Like you're not.
Well, of course. Yes, you're right. 21 years old, non-felon, no violent crimes, like all the stuff that you have to go through. If you can legally own a gun and carry a gun, it's cool to do in Alaska. So shipping ahead of time, you don't have to ship shotguns, with the caveat, some of them you do. Mossberg 500 combo we had. That's the one that has the pistol grip handle.
Yes.
Canadians don't like that. That's a no-go.
Yeah.
Keltec KSG. I love that gun. To me, that was the best shotgun for protection of bears and people in Alaska, because it is a bullpup designed shotgun that holds 14 rounds of ammunition. 12 rounds. We would take one side, 6 of them, and put a double-aught buck, which is like a BB, a real heavy BB, and then we would do 6 slugs, and you had a toggle switch that you could go back and forth on depending on what you needed. And because it was so small, we could sling it over our shoulders while we were fishing and hunting or camping or hiking and carry it, and it was excellent for that. But that's illegal in California. That's illegal in Canada, even though it's a shotgun, because they look at it a little different.
Yeah, in some other states too. But no, that's important. So anything you can ship. I mean, less headache.
Oh, 100%.
But obviously, we've gone through that over our Canada one.
Yeah. Yep. So handguns. You can carry a handgun for bear protection. We carried a .44 Magnum It was a 6-shot revolver, a Smith & Wesson.
And we had the holsters that go across our chest in the front. So we displayed it, but it was just more, it wasn't like, hey, I got a gun. It's like
easy access to draw.
If there's a bear attack that comes up all of a sudden.
So you can carry hip holster, you can carry concealed, you can carry open carry. It's all good up there. But what we did was the Alaska, I think it's called the Alaska Adventure Gear. We'll have to double check that. But they have chest holsters, Alaskan chest holster. If you type that in, you'll find leather versions and nylon versions. I just wore, a webbed version on my chest that had the 6-round revolver, basically the Smith & Wesson, because I wanted to have immediate access to the firearm, because there's other things we carried on our belts. So we would have a fillet knife on our belt. We would have bear spray on our belt. We may have an air horn.
A fish whacker.
A fish whacker. So there's all kinds of crap that you're carrying around your waist. You don't want to be fumbling with a firearm in an emergency situation where you're being attacked or protecting somebody else that's being attacked by a bear.
And we both carried. We had his and hers.
Yes, we did. Yeah, you had a Taurus version of it, a 5-shot Taurus 44, and I had the 6-shot Smith & Wesson 44. But a 44 Magnum was kind of, in our opinion, the minimum, because you want a very heavy leaded bullet. Bears are extremely tough animals, and if you have to shoot one, you need to make sure you're going to be able to put them down.
Yeah, because you don't want them coming up and coming after you all injured. They're going to be even angrier.
Yeah, we saw a lot of people that carried a 454 Casull, a 500 Magnum, a 50 caliber pistol, or I would even call it a pistol. It's a handgun at that point, or it's a hand cannon. Yeah. That's a wrist breaker. But the smallest I've ever seen people carry was a 10 millimeter Glock. I wasn't a fan of that.
No.
The theory on that is you can carry a lot of rounds. I think the Glock holds like 15 rounds at 10 millimeters, so you could poke a lot of holes. And it is a semi-automatic, so you could reload and all those things. The reality of a bear attack is you're going to be lucky to get 3 or 4 rounds off, just because they usually happen fast and at a very close distance. So, 20 rounds is cool, but you got to be able to hit what you're aiming at, and we want stopping power. So completely preference. I mean, it's kind of like Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, right? Everybody's got their preference on vehicles, on firearms, on calibers, but just know 44, 454, 50 cal, or 10 mil, probably okay. 10 mil, and that's your preference, not for us. We wanted bigger.
Yeah. And then, we're just giving you a variety of different things that you can secure yourself with out there.
Yeah. And just know buying firearms in Alaska is going to be difficult or challenging depending on what state you're from, whether or not you have a CCW, whether or not they have reciprocity. Don't anticipate going to Alaska and being able to buy a pistol or a revolver or any type of handgun. The reality is it's probably going to be a problem for you because of whatever your home state is. So if you're going to bring a handgun, just ship it.
Yep. And that way you have your own handgun. And then, of course, we always recommend target practice.
Oh, yeah, be comfortable.
Go to the shooting range and just get comfortable and changing out your ammo and everything.
We made our daughter, I won't say made, we allowed our daughter to shoot our 44 Magnum. How old was she when she did that? Because we've got an adorable video. That thing kicked so hard, it was hilarious.
She was probably like 13, 14.
Yeah, and she would shoot our 44. Again, it was the training her to be confident with firearms, and in an emergency situation, she could help defend us. She personally didn't carry a 44. We didn't have her carry a gun at that age, but we wanted her safe and knowledgeable.
She grew up knowing how to shoot and with BB guns and controlled areas, and she was very responsible. And just have to brag for a minute. So in high school, she was in the Air Force JROTC.
Yes, she was.
She was in the JROTC varsity rifle shooting team. She was in the high school varsity rifle shooting team and junior Olympic shooting team for Alaska, number 2 in the state.
Yeah, she was a bad woman. Yes, she was. So let's talk about a little bit of a kind of a reality story. So I was out fishing on the Kenai River with my dad. We were fishing for reds, and we went across the ferry. And if you go to the Kenai down in that area, you'll understand what I'm talking about, the Russian River Ferry. So we took the ferry across the Kenai River, and we were fishing on the opposite bank of the ferry, and we had a grizzly bear that was just being a pain in the ass. There was no other way to put it. It was pacing. It was stealing fish. It was super aggressive. And Fish and Game the troopers had warned us that it was out there. They knew they were trying to get the bear, and they were actually trying to capture the bear and relocate it because it was being so aggressive towards people. So there's a handicap fishing area directly below the ferry crossing that's roped off, where people that have electric wheelchairs, regular wheelchairs, limited mobility, things of that nature, that they can fish. And it's a prime area, and they have it for handicapped folks. And so this bear was being a pain in the butt and was bothering everybody for probably, 2-3 hours. He was just being obnoxious, and we would shoo him off, and he'd come back, and we were going back and forth. Well, finally, the bear came down off the hill and started walking the shoreline and coming at everybody. So everybody kind of scurries away to give the bear the right of way, which is the right thing to do. As we were getting up to the ferry crossing, we noticed that one of the gentlemen was in an electric wheelchair, and he was stuck because the gravel. So his tires were spinning. He couldn't go anywhere, and the bear was about 100 yards away. So the ferry was over there. Everybody jumped on the ferry. Myself, one other guy I didn't know, stayed back, and we both drew our firearms and basically stood in front of the gentleman that was in the electric wheelchair because the bear was coming at us. And we were there to protect him in case the bear came closer. We were very fortunate that probably at about 40 yards out, the bear hung a left and went up the hill and went away. So just know the things we're talking about are reality. They do happen all the time in Alaska. It's part of the experience and the adventure is working and living around bears and moose. It's just what it is. So make sure you're doing whatever version of personal protection you want to do here. Make sure that you're comfortable and you're confident in what you're doing.
Yeah, and if you see a bear or something out there that could potentially harm someone and they're walking that way, let them know, hey, I saw a bear 40 yards to the left or behind this cabin.
And moose. Mama Moose is a mean woman.
Don't try to feed the animals and don't try to pet them.
Yeah, and don't screw with the bald eagles.
Oh, no.
And as far as protection, you should talk about that because every year there is eagles that snatch up dogs and cats.
Oh, yeah, especially, the little ones, obviously. So keep your pets on a leash. Keep them close by. Don't just let them wander off. They could attract bears or get snatched up by eagles.
Yeah. Unfortunately, smaller animals are prey. There's no other way around it. I mean, when you say that it's the last frontier, it's still wild up there.
Yeah.
And, the rules of nature still exist. There's predator and there's prey, both two-legged and four-legged.
And it's cool, especially if you haven't been to Alaska before. You've been, and it's been a long time, and it is majestic up there. I mean, I'm biased because I'm Alaska Native Indian. I'm from Alaska, so
right.
We lived there, done all the adventures, so that's why we're sharing this with all of you.
And at some point, we'll live back there. We know that's coming at some point. We don't know what that looks like. It might be a retirement thing, but who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, we just want to explore the lower 48 and go on some more adventures, and just, life's short. We want to enjoy every moment.
Absolutely. So next, let's talk about headlamps. We
carry headlamps for even in our RV life. Mm-hmm. We carry headlamps for walking our dog at night or early in the morning because it's safe. We use headlamps when we're out hunting, fishing, it gets dusk out. You just want to make sure that you can see where you're walking, especially you don't want to be walking up on some critter.
Yeah. And most of the critters in Alaska you got to worry about are not little. You're not going to run up on a snake. There's no snakes up there. You don't have to worry about scorpions or weird things like that. It's going to be a fox, a moose, a bear, a lynx.
A squirrel.
Squirrel. There's a lot of damn squirrels up there. But that ain't going to bother you.
No.
You're going to run. The only person scared of squirrels is Callie.
Oh, gosh. Well, the squirrels get a little loud when it's mating season.
Yeah, they do. So headlamps are something that's just kind of a must-have. You can go as crazy as you want. You can get really nice, like Streamlight ones, or you can just get some cheapy AAA battery ones. I mean, let's be real.
Costco and Sam's and all those other warehouse ones sell them in bulk. So
yeah, that's a must for personal protection in our opinion.
And flashlights too. So I mean, there's a wide variety of flashlight. Chris has like a zillion. I should take a picture of like all the kind of flashlights.
Whoa. I do not.
He's got a flashlight thing.
I do not have a flashlight thing.
No, there's some really cool flashlights out there. we like the ones that are rechargeable instead of having to change the batteries out all the time, because that gets annoying, and it's always those weird special batteries.
And a lot of that for us was because we would go fishing. I know we talked about this in our last episode. We would literally go fishing. We would get to the river at 10 o'clock at night so we could fish at midnight. So although it is summer, there's plenty of daylight, it does get dusk in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning. It gets a little bit darker. So having a flashlight is nice, especially if you're walking through trails like on the Russian River where there's not a lot of light.
Yeah, and you shine the light around, and you just want to make sure you don't see a set of glowing eyes looking at you going, rawr. What you got? Get it. Give me your salmon.
Nope, leave me alone. So headlamps and flashlights are a good thing. So let's talk about bear spray, because you got to talk about the other aggressive predator in Alaska.
Well, we already talked about bear spray, so I'm going to talk about bug spray.
That's what I meant.
The one particular brand that we use is called Ben's, B as in boy, ENS. And we use the 100% DEET. They do have like a 30% one, but we found that 100%, it keeps the mosquitoes off you.
Yep. Get it on your clothes, keep it off your skin.
Yeah. And we'll take our hat off and spray inside the rim of the hat, spray around your ears. I mean, anywhere a bug can get you, even leggings, they will bite through leggings.
They'll bite you in the butt, ask Martha.
Gosh, they itch. It's because they like my butt.
Itchy butt.
Not if you spray Ben's on it.
Right. So first aid kit. This is another item that for us.
Wasn't done.
Oh, excuse me. Hold on.
With the bug spray, we've tested out so many different brands. We've tested the ones that like smell pretty. We've tested.
You're talking about
outdoor.
You're talking about like Cutter.
Yeah.
And all the pretty ones that have trees on it and make it look all foo-foo-y.
And there's like a wide variety of different percentages of DEET. 100% DEET works.
Yep. Yes, it does.
Just keep it out of your eyes. If you get it on your hands, don't lick your fingers. Don't rub your eyes.
Keep your fingers out your mouth, period.
Wash your hands thoroughly before you use the restroom.
Right. That's pepper spray in a whole nother way.
Okay.
So,
first aid kit.
First aid kits. Here's our recommendation. What we did is we went to Bass Pro or Cabela's, same company now, and they make very, very nice first aid kits. So they have like a backpacker version. They have a mountaineering version. We went with like a 10-person mountaineering everything first aid kit that we bought at Bass Pro, and we would carry that. Not necessarily that we ran into any issues, but you're carrying knives, you're carrying firearms, you're dealing with sprays that are irritants, you're dealing with bugs, broken ankles, things like that can happen. Having a well-versed first aid kit, in our opinion, if you're going to be doing anything outside of the city, is a must.
Why you guys say broken ankles?
I don't know why you keep breaking your damn ankle.
It was only twice. The same ankle.
Twice.
And not only that, like when you're out there fishing, I mean, it's important to wear a hat and sunglasses. And the reason why is that because it gets so tight in those fishing holes that when you're casting, not everyone's a good fisherman. Not every time you put the hook in the water where you want it. Sometimes you're hooking your neighbor 2 down and you're going to rip their face off, their ears, their eyes. That can happen. So first aid kit for all multi-purpose outdoor one is needed.
So skill set, let's talk skill set since you brought that up, because that's valid. We always wore a baseball cap and we always wore sunglasses or glasses because eye protection is really important. You got 100 people flinging hooks around. You don't want one of them buried in your eyeball. Know how to remove a hook that is embedded in your thumb, your palm, your hand, your cheek, something.
Yeah.
Know how to remove hooks. Also, a tool that I would carry that we always carried was a multi-tool. Think of a Leatherman or a
Swiss Army knife
or a Gerber, something that can cut a hook. And the reason I say that, if you get a hook buried in your cheek, which we have seen, you're not going to be able to pull that out without damaging the living crap out of somebody's face. Cut the hook, tape it up, get your butt to urgent care. They deal with it all the time in Alaska. But a Gerber or a Leatherman multi-tool and the skill set of how to remove a hook, I had to remove one out of the palm of my hand, and it was my hook. I went to cast, something happened, the weight hit my back, somehow I screwed up and buried the hook in my hand. So I had to hold the hold the eye of the hook, or where you tie it on, down, and my dad used a fishing line to pop it out. And other than hurting like hell, no harm, no foul. You heal up, you move on.
Yeah.
But know how to remove hooks. It's just a good thing to do. And good call on the hat and glasses. That wasn't on our list, but boy, that's an important thing.
Yeah, like Chris and I, when we'd go out there fishing, and we called that combat fishing, honestly, what we would do is I would let Chris go out onto the water first and let him catch his fish. I'm on this side bank because we didn't want to take up too much space, and we would take turns. So if something happened or I need to net his fish or vice versa, you know, one of us was readily available. And it was just a safety thing. I mean, Chris and I, we've always been like that.
Yeah. So first aid kit, Bass Pro and Cabela's have some great ones. You can get them on Amazon and anywhere else. Yeah. But have it. So let's talk about Garmin InReach, satellite communicator.
Chris and I, we've had a couple different Garmin InReaches. They've worked great. And we bought the bigger one, and then later on we bought a smaller one. I can't remember what happened to the bigger one.
It was just old and outdated, so we sold it because it didn't have an LCD screen. They changed them where they actually had an LCD screen. Ours was a brick to begin with. The new one, the newer, which is really old at this point, has an LCD screen. Connects to the cell phone, worked on an app, so it was great.
And there was a subscription, and we could communicate with each other, and especially like if you went hunting without me or fishing, these trips, sometimes his dad would fly and they'd go off for a couple weeks, and it was just a great way where we can communicate. We've used it like elsewhere also. Yeah. He went hunting with his dad when we had moved to California in 2019. Yeah. And he went to go assist with his dad hunting. And that's when the fires were going on. And I was able to communicate with Chris because I kept a close eye on the news, and it was getting really close to where they were hunting. And I was like,
evacuate, basically.
Yeah, I sent him a message. I'm like, please leave. Fires are coming your way now.
And we left, and I was literally the last flight out of Santa Rosa before it just took over the whole area.
So, I mean, it's an inexpensive way. Satellite communication, you're going to get signal everywhere. And like Chris said, you pair it with your phone, and he was able to use it off the app of his phone. Yeah. And it would come to me as a text message. So.
Right. Yeah, it works good. So Garmin InReach work really well. They're pretty inexpensive. The annual plan's like $35 a year, depending on what you want to do and how much you want to text on it. And the device is $200 or $300, but it's well worth it.
It's like an old cell phone plan. You pick your text message package.
Exactly. All right, I'll talk about satellite phone. We only rented one a couple times because it was cost prohibitive. They're expensive to rent. You can rent them in Anchorage if you're going to go out anywhere that doesn't have communication or any kind of cell service, which there's a lot of areas you don't get cell service. So it's nice to have if you want to rent a sat phone. But whether you have an InReach or a sat phone, have one or the other, especially if you're going to be going out in the woods.
When we rented the satellite phone, we were out moose hunting, and this was before we got the Garmin InReach. So it was a great way for us. We had to go find signal out there in the open field, and we're able to, check in on our daughter, see how she's doing, making sure the house is fine. And
right.
But like Chris said, it was very costly. It was actually cheaper to get the Garmin InReach.
Oh, absolutely. Paid for itself instead of renting a phone over and over again. Speaking of which, what's the one thing that everybody should have for personal protection at this point in life?
Cell phones.
What carriers generally work in Alaska? Do you remember?
I do. AT&T. Yep. GCI, which is a local network there, and Verizon. There is also T-Mobile.
Oh, it's up there, huh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Just know that none of them work everywhere.
No, they don't.
So whoever you have, if you have some of the more obscure plans, maybe like Boost or some of the stuff from like the Straight Talk from like
Metro,
Walmart or Metro, those probably won't work depending on where you're at.
The best way is go to your carrier's website and look at the coverage map. And then zoom into Alaska and the different areas. So if you know where you're visiting, check that out. Now, we have not personally tried Starlink, but we know Starlink does work up there.
Yes, it does.
Check the coverage map. They update it all the time. They shoot out satellites in the universe all the time. So
keep in mind that Starlink has to have clear line of sight if you do have that. But having some type of communication, whether it's Garmin, sat phone, cell phone, Starlink could work in that circumstance. Has to have a clear line of sight. Open, so no tree coverage. There's a lot of flinging trees in Alaska.
Well, and there's mountains too.
Yeah. So if you're buried in a valley in between two mountains under a tree cover, you're going to probably have to get to some clearing.
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked about a lot about personal protection in Alaska. So what do you think is kind of the final? What do you recommend?
So obviously your cell phone. Yes. Get some bear spray. I mean, if you don't want to carry a gun or you can't carry a gun, that's okay because there's other things we've mentioned. Yep. Bear spray, bells, tasers.
Right. That's for the two-legged.
Different kind of knives.
Yep.
I mean, you probably already own some of these, so.
Yeah. Just know that Alaska's pretty wide open on whatever you want to carry and whatever you want to do as far as personal protection, whether two-legged or four-legged. Mm-hmm. But just most importantly, know that the way the Alaska Fish and Game or the state troopers put it, you cannot harass the animals. So you can't antagonize the bears. You can't antagonize the fish.
It's not Hunger Games, you guys. Just be respectful to the wildlife and to others around you. Full disclosure, Chris and I, we've never shot anyone, and we've never shot any animals like bears.
Well, we've shot a lot of animals, but that was hunting.
Hunting, purposely.
No self-defense shootings.
No self-defense shooting. Thank you.
Yeah, so we can't speak from experience on that. Like I said, we have with the bear spray, we have had circumstances where we've had to stand our ground against animals, but thank God nothing ever happened. So personal protection in Alaska, there you go. Everything you wanted to know. If you have particular questions, you can reach us on literally every social platform under Venturesome Couple.
Yep, and the most important thing to carry out there, bug spray.
And common sense, y'all.
Yes.
Use your noodle. If you can get away, do.
And we want everyone to have a wonderful time, but remain safe.
Yep. Please don't become a statistic. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
if you guys are watching this on YouTube, don't forget, like and subscribe. If you have not subscribed already, please
Shame
do.
on you.
It's free to you, and it means the world to us.
Absolutely. And what do we tell everybody?
Enjoy every moment.